In this video, we're going to look at how to create a composite image using Adobe Photoshop. A composite image is made up of two or more images which are combined to produce one image. I'm going to use this image to demonstrate. It's actually made up of three images. A background image, which was of a lake in Northumberland. A headstone, which was actually found in a cemetery in London. And to add a little more interest, I've added a bird to the top of the headstone, and that came from another headstone in a cemetery in London. To create the final image, the headstone and the bird were digitally cut out of their original images and placed on top of the background. Realism, however, is always a challenge with composites, and in this case it was necessary to create a realistic reflection of the headstone and the bird on the surface of the lake. So I want to try and demonstrate how I did that in this video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to do before we do our composite is to import the pictures into Photoshop. Mine is stored in Lightroom, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the two of the three pictures I want to use and I'll transfer them over. The reason I want to use two is because I want to create layers and I want to show how to transfer them from Lightroom into Photoshop as layers, but I'm also going to show later on how we can another way of doing it, which is more designed when you're in the middle of producing something in Photoshop and you would decide to add something else. So it'll come apparent as we'll go through. So firstly, to transfer things through, what we're going to do is I want to highlight number 2 and number 4. I'll press Control as I do it, so it just highlights those two, and then go up to the top here and then edit in. Now there's a few different options there. The one I want to go for is open as layers in Photoshop, so it'll give us 2 layers. So it just takes a minute for it to do its thing. So on the right hand side, as it's warming up, you can just see there's the 2 tiles there. That's the 2 layers that we've got, so 2 images. So it's just settling down there now while the images are coming through. Okay. So a couple of things. When we're working on layers, the layer we're working on has to have this white square around it. If it doesn't, then we're working on the wrong layer. So we've got to have that again, it'll come apparent as we're working through. The other thing that's useful is this little eye. If you click on it, it switches that image off. Click on it again, it comes back on. Now on this particular one, our background is on top of the image which we're wanting to use as the subject. So we'll need to swap them around. And with layers, you've got to think of it as, well, what they are is layers. And so the bottom layer is your background. And then as you go up the stack, they get higher and higher and higher. So the order in which they're laid out makes a big difference as to what you can see in the finished result. So I want to move this background layer down. So the way I want to do it, there's a couple of ways to do it, but the simple way, just so you left click on the mouse and just drag it down, let go, and that's them swapped round. So we've got the layers the right way around now, and what we need to do is electronically cut this out, cut out the cross, and then we're going to stick it on top of the background. So there's a couple of ways we can do it. There's various tools we can use, and they're up here. So selection brush. If I right click, there's various other tools we've got. There's also the next square along as object select tools. Again, various tools we can use to get our selection. Depending on what the background is and what you're trying to do, it depends on which tool you use. For this particular one, because we've got such a confusing background, there's an awful lot of stuff there, the computer won't be able to pick out the cross as easily as it would with other things. So I'm going to use the brush, the selection brush tool, and what I want to do is just paint over the cross. So just bear with me a minute. So this, by the way, it's just going to be a quick demonstration, so it's not going to be as neat as the original image you saw. This is just to show you how it was done. So I'm just going to quickly do it. The original image did take quite a bit of time to do. Just bear with me. So it doesn't matter if you go over the lines. I went over there a little bit in the corner. So with this brush tool as well, the other thing you can do, well, with all the tools, if you want to make it bigger, you've got the brackets on the keyboard, the square ones. The left-hand one makes it smaller. The right-hand one increases the size of it. So you've got quite a bit of control on it. And we'll just paint away that. The more accurate you are with this, the better it is really, because it's less work you got to do later on. But you can correct it. It doesn't matter too much if you go over the lines, as I said before. But just to make life easy for yourself. So we'll just continue painting on that. There we go. Right. Okay, that's not too bad at all. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to create what's called a layer mask. So what that means is the picture that we've got there, we want to keep the bit that's in pink, and then the bit that's coloured behind it we want to get rid of. So we'll move down here, we'll make sure that this white box is around the right picture. And then we'll go into this box here, which is layer masks. And we're just going to click on that. And now we'll have just the bit that we need. Now, I said before that if you go over the lines, you can't get rid of them. So the way we do that is, if we go back up here, there's a brush tool. So just click on that. So what we've got, this, go back over to the other side. This was the picture of the cross. This is the layer mask. So everything in white is what you can see. Everything in black is the rest of the image that's hidden that you can't see at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're making sure that this is got the white box around it, because that's the layer we're going to be working on. That's the slide we're going to be working on now. So if we change, this box here, this is the color that your paintbrush is going to be. It's not actually that color, but it's black's the background, white's for the foreground. So that's on white. So we're going to change that to black. So just click on this arrow here and it changes to black. So now we've got the paintbrush, and we're just going to paint over the bits that we don't want, and they disappear. So all it is, we're just really sharpening up on what we did with the original selection tool. I'll just get rid of it. Again, this takes a while to do it properly, and I'm just rattling through this because you don't want to be sitting watching me doing this for the next hour, so we'll just quickly show you. There we go. A couple more bits down the side there. A bit down. So again, this doesn't matter too much if you go over the lines, because you can correct everything. So I'll just show you. So yeah, so oh dear, I've just done the wrong thing there. So I'll just change the brush over to white, and then just paint back over it again, and it goes back. So it's simple as that. It's dead easy. Right. Like I say, it's not the neatest job I've ever done, but it's just a demonstration. So the next job, what we need to do is we need to place this in the scene where we want to use it. So the way we do it is a thing called free transform, and we can move our object anywhere we want in the picture, and we can increase and reduce the size of it as we want, whatever fits where we want to do. So click out the free transform. So this blue box that you can see around the cross, that's the rest of the picture that you can't see. That's the whole image. The whole image is always there. It's just you're taking out bits and you're putting bits in, so it's not all visible. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just reduce this in size. So I'll just top corner, just dragging it down with the left button clicked on the mouse, and then left click and just drag it up to where I want it to be. So just position it there, put a nice little bend in it. Okay, we'll put it about there. Okay, right. So we've got the cross in. So that's done. Right. So the other thing we need to do, we need to make it look believable. Now the bottom of the cross, you can see there's a straight line, and that's because that was the bottom of the picture. So if I just go Control and the put the plus sign on the keyboard, and I can get a bit closer. It looks a bit sort of unrealistic, shall we say. So again, using the principle with this black and white and painting and masks and things, what I want to do is I want to get rid of some of the cross to blend it in with the water a bit. So I just change it to black. Then we're just going to just create a little bit of a wave type effect there, just so it looks like it's meant to be like that. It's not as stark. Maybe not very convincing, but you get the idea. So the next thing, if we move back out, it says Control and the minus button. So we've got that sat there, but you can see further back, you've got the reflection of the trees in the water. So we need to replicate the trees in the water. So what we need to do is we'll go onto the picture and we go Control and J. So Control J, what that does is that duplicates the layer for us. So we've got the same layer twice. At the moment, it's on top of the original layer. So what we need to do is move it. So the way we do that is again our old friend free transform. Click on that, and as we can see, you've got that blue box around again. So it's exactly the same as the other way. It's exactly the same layer, but what we need to do is flip it over. So this little box has appeared here, and there's a couple of handy little tools. One of them is to turn it, flip it one way, or flip it back, or we can invert it, which is what we're going to do. So that's now inverted, and we need to position it. So we'll just bring that down, and we'll just pop it there. I'll tell you what, I've noticed as well, I've made a little bit of a mistake because the cross a little bit bigger than I wanted, because I need to, that's better. Because I want to put the bird on the top, and I want the reflection of the bird in the final image as well. So I'll just reduce that, and I'll do the same with the original as well. So again, free transform. And this is the thing with this, you can, if you make mistakes or it's not quite right, you can change it very, very easily. There's nothing, you're not going to break anything by doing it. Let's go back to the inverted one. And go free transform, bring it down a little bit more as well. Okay, so that's done. So a couple of things now. So we've got the cross, we've got the reflection of the cross, but it's still not quite right. So what we're going to do, Control and plus zoom in a bit. The base of the two crosses doesn't look right. So the reflection one, the one that's inverted, I'm going to get rid of some of that blended in with the cross at the top. So click on the mask again, because you're going to be working with a mask, and we're going back on the brush, and this time we need the brush black, which it is, and then we're just going to get rid of some of this cross here. Now the thing with this, you're already given the impression of something, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then go back to white, because I want to just fill in these little bits here. Right, not bad at that. Right, okay. I think I'll do that bit there as well. It's not quite, that's it, right. So what we're going to do now, we've got it so it's a bit blended in. It doesn't too bad. The next, yeah, I'm just thinking whether that looks right. It's a reflection. I'm just making sure it looks right. Right, okay. So the next thing we're going to do, the inverted one is just as bright as the original. So we need to correct that to make it look like a reflection. So all we're going to do is this opacity slider here, we're just going to click on it. It's at 100% now. So if we drag that slider down, go right the way down, and leave it at that. Okay, so that's down to 21%. Now you can see we've got the reflection in the water, and you've got the water on top of the cross. So it's a bit like the reflection would be. You've got the impression of the water being there as well. So it's not stuck on top. It looks as if it's the reflection of it. So that's the cross. So the next thing I want to show is we're looking at, in the original, I had a bird perched on top of the cross as well. So we're going to import that from Lightroom. So the way we're going to do that is we'll go on the top corner and we're going to go place embedded, and then it's going to come up with your files. This happens to come up because I'll be practicing. This comes up with the file where this particular image is. So you need to know where your image is before you do this. And I've got reference 4641, and that's it there. So we'll click on that and place. Okay, so this is opened up in what's called Camera Raw. So the image you're seeing has got no Lightroom adaptations to it whatsoever. There's nothing been done on it. It's the raw file. But if I wanted to, I can do all the adjustments that I did in Lightroom. I can do here before we actually put it onto the rest of the image. I'm happy with that because I'm only going to use the bird, which is just at the top here. I'm not going to use any of the rest of it. So I'm going to click OK, and that's it there. Right. That's again, it defaults to free transform mode, so I can move it around. But because I'm going to be working on that bird, I'll keep it at that size so I can see what I'm doing. So I'll just click OK, which is this tick at the box. Okay, we're all right at that. Now, because I'm going to be editing this image, it comes through. I've got to rasterize it so I can do something with it. And that little symbol there in the corner means that I need to do that. That's dead simple to do. So we just go up to the top. I can never remember which one it's on. Uh, I do this so often I should know it by now, but I can always forget. Right. So raster size layer. So just means we can edit it, and that little symbol goes. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cut out the bird like we did with the last one, but this time the background's very um, simple for the bird. So I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use the object select tool. So all I want to do is I'm going to drag the cursor across the bird with the left button on the mouse pressed. Just drag it across and let go. And that's done something I wasn't expecting to do. It doesn't want to do that. Set the wrong tool. I'd pressed got the wrong thing. Right, forget about that one. I'll just undo that. So if you make a mistake with Photoshop, all you do is go back, edit, undo frame. I selected the wrong tool. That was my fault. And then just go to what you wanted to do. So yeah, so back the same. I'm just going to drag the cursor across and let go. So if we look there now, we see the black and white lines around the bird. That's indicating it's selected, that's found it. So again, we're just going to go down at the bottom, create a layer mask, click on that. So the bird is there, believe it or not. It's difficult, it blends in a little bit. So we're going to go up the top again, and then we're going to free transform it. So we've still got a big blue box, and I'll just move out again. And I'll just make the bird a bit smaller, just so it's a bit more in keeping. And then we're just going to pop it on the top there. That's it. So we've got the bird there, but obviously there's a bird in the reflection as well. So we're going to do the same as we did before. So Control and J. So create another bird, and then again free transform. There, and just invert it. There we go. And then we just drag it down so it's in line with the other one. That's okay. And then we're just going to drop the opacity again to 21. So it's the same as the other one. Set. And you just make it out, but it is there in the shadow. So that's the basics of that. The next thing I would do with it, or I did with the other one, is just cropping it. So we'll go up to the crop, to this one here, and there's various different crop settings you can do. You just click down here and you can do all sorts of crops. I'm just going to do a square because that's what the original was. I'll just try to reproduce that. So let's drag it in. I'll just go across. I'll try to get rid of that rock a little bit as well. There we go. And that's, click on the tick. That's that. And then finally, the other thing we'll do, just to finish it off, I did the original in black and white, so I'll show you how to do that. So we're just going to scroll down. There's a couple ways you can do it. The simplest way, scroll down to this here, which is in new infill or adjustment layer. And then we're just going to click on black and white. And it's as simple as that. What we'll then do with the image, we can then file and then save. And then it'll go back into uh, Lightroom. And you can do all your normal Lightroom adjustments as you normally would. And that is how you do a composite. So I hope that makes sense to you and you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching.